Ave Maria.
Did you like Batman?
It's fun.
The Batman?
Batman's getting like James Bond to me. It's like it doesn't matter how good they make him. I'm like wondering how on board I am with this character anymore. It's like I think they nailed Batman, but maybe I don't care that much about Batman anymore. He's too serious.
The peak of my excitement was when Batman Begins came out and then The Dark Knight, and we know how we feel about Dark Knight Rises. But since then, there are so many discussions, and then Snyder, all that stuff. It's like Batman's like, get over it, man. It's like, but this one,
kind of tired of. He's awesome. He's amazing. I love
the movie's beautiful,
and he's probably the best physical Batman. And it's such a great.
And
outfit.
The Gotham is great, and it might be the best cinematography and music in one of those movies.
Yeah, and I think they nailed it. Like it's so funny to see a movie where I kind of think they nailed it completely, and I still just don't care that much. So
right. Well, I walked out of it because there's no like. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because it's not a superhero movie; it's just a noir movie. And they had like the damn. They did what I wanted them to do. They had the damn Dexter like monologue, like a film noir thing. But they had all that stuff.
Yeah,
like him voiceover is great.
And the concept, but
there's no emotion or joy watching it. You're just like, okay, they did that.
And I'm kind of tired of, even if it's a good reboot of concept, I'm kind of tired of you guys just rebooting every 5 years or so. Like, all right, if this Batman works, can we run with this one for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, again, this is one of those ones like once it comes home, like it's on HBO Max, I'll probably watch it more. I was like, I really do love this. This is really solid. Like, it's so dense.
Everything to me is the same argument now. I'm like, I think that should have been a TV show.
No, I said that too.
Hell of that.
Well, this
3
one
hours
proves
long,
that
I would have loved that as a TV show.
This one proves our theory that should be just a TV show. It's like it's just a detective show. I have these split these up into 45 minutes.
If you would just crash fewer cars, you could afford to put this on HBO as a TV show.
Yeah, this wasn't that. It doesn't look expensive. It looks like a noir, like just a thriller, like kind of.
Yeah, they blew up the city like at the end of the movie, and then you're like, well, here's where all the money went. But you didn't need this. Most of the time, they're just wading through water. You could do that on a back lot anywhere. You don't have to be like
in Australia right now. Everything's underwater.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everything being said, I loved all this stuff. The one thing to be negative, the one other critic, that's why I need to watch it again. I was like, maybe I wasn't following, but it felt like there wasn't it wasn't even like Seven where like the mystery, like, it felt like it was trying to be like
a little like Seven. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
Well, but I'm saying, but the actual mystery, there was no like, oh my God. It felt like they go one place, they find a picture of somebody, they go, oh, they're there. Let's go there. Okay, come on. Okay, let's go. There was no grand mystery of anything. It was just like, even to the point where
Paltrow's head in a box, I'm not on board.
Well, even to the point where I sort of got disappointed at like that point where they go, what is that point in the movie? Spoiler alert, where the rhyme's like, it's a rat with wings. I'm like, that's a bat. Yeah. And he's like, that mean penguin. That's what they mean. I was like, well, hold on. No, a rat with wings is a bat. And they go, we're going to go there. 10 minutes later, they go there and they talk to the penguin. He's like, what are you talking about? That's a bat. And like, you don't get that? I was like, yeah, I already got that. It was like, I don't think the mystery's up to par. Like,
it's one of the old problems.
Most of the riddles
smart people in movies is where they're not as smart as the people.
Well,
most of it they write pretty well, though. I think that one, the problem with that one is running time, because it's not that clue was so bad. It's just that because of that clue, there are at least 3 different scenes where multiple characters discuss how many animals have wings, and you're like, "What?" It's like it starts feeling like Blue's Clues. It's like, we get it. Lots of things have wings.
Well, the movie. What's weird about it that you don't realize movie 2 is also it's a two-hander. It's basically like a True Detective with him and Gordon almost. It's both of them together,
and it's super fun that way. I like that.
But the only problem is this is like where some movies we like. If it's a Jerry Bruckheimer movie, we complain like it's like 11. Those Transformer movies are like 11 the entire time. You're like, this is unwatchable. That movie is like a film noir that is humorless. It's completely humorless, or like any bit of irony, like. So the whole time it's like, yeah, this is pretty good. Like they don't have like a human moment or like a conversation between them in the movie. Even the Catwoman one's all sort of poised and like, well, you're like, I like strays, don't you? Like it's very stylized. So you're like,
well, and he's creepy stalking her through the movie.
And so it's like in 3 hours of that, it's like, I don't think
male gaze.
They didn't have the moment to make them. They're all likable because they're pretty good at. They're all just by their nature, but it doesn't. I mean, I don't want to make them like a Marvel movie, but it's just like. It's a different thing. I think it's very interesting they did. I I'd like to watch it again, but I wasn't very excited.
Well, everybody's intense. One good thing about watching like a Batman where you have the Joker is like cracking dumb jokes and stuff like that, and it's sort of
even Alfred in the other movies, like Michael Caine,
or he's like making dry remarks or whatever. Yeah, but in this, like everyone's
and Serkis is super serious in this too, and he gets it.
I love his Batman voice. I think he nails it, but I think he really does sort of remind me of the guy from how it should have ended. Where he's like, I'm Batman.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
well, he does it. You know what? And they did what I love. What they did too. I like the voice because it's just him talking lower like this.
And he sounds.
They also.
If anybody ever looked like he stepped out of a comic, it's this guy. He nails the look. He looks.
But also, once he gets to know the people,
Robert Pattinson didn't justify all of the hate that was thrown at him when they said he was going to be Batman.
No, he's great.
No, of course not. People are always dumb about casting.
He's the most like
actor.
The character of any.
If he's physically good, they must have hired a good stuntman because he's famously uncoordinated.
Well, I'm sure they had a lot of expert stunt work. And plus, in terms of action, I had a hard time following a lot of the fight scenes. There's
most of it's just him walking around and
what's happening.
But there's not a lot of action at all.
He's not doing like Krav Maga or
what's
anything.
Weird. He's in Batman. He's in the Batman suit 90% of the movie too.
For real, he's almost always Batman.
But there's only like a couple action. There's only like a couple action sequences too.
Yeah, some people brought like a little kid in the movie, and I'm like, I feel bad for the little kid. Because they would be baffled by this movie 3 hours.
It's a weird movie. It is not It's
not Schumacher's Batman. Don't bring your kids.
No,
it's not a superhero movie at all. It's like a detective. It's like a weird,
Yeah, it's fun. It's like
it's like what it is. It's like a Jack Reacher thing. That's what it is. It's like some Jack Reacher novel. That's basically what it is.
Well, that's the back to basics with Batman. Like, he's the world's greatest detective. That's what he's supposed to be.
And it's good, but I just don't know if I want to see a movie of it. I think I do. I'd rather see this as a show. I think they're not going to get these actors. I mean, Jeffrey Wright's in Westworld, but they want to make it movies to make.
They're doing I guess they did well. TV shows. They're going to do an Arkham TV show, which will be fun because it's a horror kind of show, and they're doing a Penguin TV show, which I'll watch it, but I don't care. Colin Farrell is awesome, and he looks awesome as the Penguin. It's a fun thing they've done with the character. And I love how much they flesh out the mythology. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from them because so many of the known characters are just in that world, and they feel like they're in that world. They're not just
and they get into a little bit of mental illness in Bruce's family. So it's like, see, this is like getting.
Well, and that's sort of a Flashpoint reference because they're like, there's a history of mental illness in his mom's side of the family, and you're like, oh yeah, because in Flashpoint. Like she becomes the Joker in that story.
Well, they've also set the stage for that. They've also, of course, sort of like they show again. I was like, I mean, they show the Joker. The kid from Eternals is Joker, and I was like, that sounds like, okay,
it's fine.
Okay, fine. But what they've sort of set the stage for is a Court of Owls sort of story. Like, is expanding on that.
Fine, because they did that in like Gotham TV show, but they haven't done that in a movie. So there's something you could do that'd be fun with a movie because they're like the League of Shadows, basically, where they're like this super group that controls everything.
I just don't think there was ever my point of the story, though. There's never a mystery that's like, I mean, I don't know if I don't want to spoil it for you, but I mean, whatever the thing is and who runs the city, you're like, yeah. That's how it was in Batman Begins, and they just mentioned it in a line.
Well, that's why I think
that's
you're right.
Mystery. Just
because it's Riddler, it doesn't make it a mystery because it really is.
It's like
it really is Chinatown because he's just finding out that everything.
It's exactly Chinatown. But I think we've been spoiled with so many Batman stories and so many things. It's like we know this. Like none of this is like.
That's what I mean.
Maybe
let's get through this first one, and you guys do something more interesting because. But you nailed it. Good job. But I'm tired of seeing Batman 1. For like the 5th time. I know
when they tried to make Batman
get killed. That's fine. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
But
the most the what's fun about it is the most like, I like how they show them where the eye paint, like I like how the Batcave is just the abandoned station. It's just a garage. It's like it's great.
It's an old subway station, and instead of being in like a stately manor, he's part of Wayne Tower in the middle of the city, and there's a much weirder kind of dynamic that way, and I really like it. I love what they did with the movie. Like I said, I might just be a little like fatigued on Batman because I'm like, man, if I'd seen this 10 years ago, it'd blow my mind.
And because they hit all the fan things too. And this version of Alfred is like a former SS, like he's like, or SAS officer, like where he's like decoding, like,
I do appreciate that. And there's an actual staff that answers to Alfred. That's one thing they address, because one good thing that the Zack Snyder thing did was the dynamic between Alfred and Bruce, because it was clear that the butler thing was a cover. He wasn't walking around dusting.
Well, and this one he's running the business basically.
Like he was like his partner doing inventions and stuff. It's like, no, I'm not going to run you a bath. I'm not the real butler. And plus, you're a grown man who takes baths.
Yeah. So it's fun. It was good. It was exactly everything I asked for. We've talked about like he's the closest to like a Dexter Batman there is. It's very good.
It's mean to say fine because of the level of work they did that went well, but it's like, but come on, I'm just. At this point, the fact that you can get a solo movie right isn't that impressive, DC. That used to be 89 was you were doing that, doing one good Batman movie. Like get a franchise off.
Well, because it almost with this one, you're movies. It's sort of like with this, and you're like, was that hard? Was that difficult, guys? Like,
because even the Nolan Batmans had completely uploaded by part 3. I dare you, when you make 3 of these The Batman movies and they're all awesome, then we'll talk about what you've accomplished. But I don't want to get you excited. I don't want to.
Well, it is discombobulating too to watch. I don't know, for 4 years they had that DC like sizzle reel, and it shows like the weirdest mix of movies. Also knowing you're about to watch this Batman too, because it's like this Batman, Aquaman, the Black Adam movie, the Flash movie, which is like they're all, which is like fine,
3
but it's
other
like
Batmans in it.
The best thing that DC's done this year was that ending. Bringing the best tie-in was the end of Peacekeeper. Justice League comes in. That was great
because it's fresh. It's like you couldn't really compare Peacekeeper to the Batman. They're very different tonally. They're very different what they're trying to do. But I'd much rather see a Peacekeeper just because it's something fresh and interesting and new that you guys are doing. Like you should have the Batman formula cracked, for God's sake. It's where like 90% of your effort goes into making Batman film.
But also they've also been all successful too. That's what's so funny about this. Is never like none of them have been. They always like they diminished in sequels and then they quit for a while. But every one of them, from Tim Burton movies to even the Joel Schumacher, like the Batman Forever is a huge hit. The one Jim Carrey and another one with them, all them. It was a huge hit that summer. They've all been hits. So I don't know. It's like, but they just can't like you guys. I mean, I guess it's sort of similar to Spider-Man, I guess, where they, but that's their main character, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we're getting old.
Well, they figured.
I think we just talked about it so much. I think we just talked about what like so much. It's like, this is what it should be. Let's see the next stuff.
I want to watch like Doctor Strange, where it looks like it's going to be completely.
Yeah, but that stuff.
And I don't even know
like now at this point, like we're like 40 superheroes movies at the end of the last 10 years. You're like, give me something fun and weird like Peacekeeper or like Doctor Strange. Like, I just want to see something wild. Yeah,
even the Flash movie with its multiversal weirdness wild. Seems like it's going to be more fun. And then we have other Batmans showing up in that too. So this idea of we made a Batman movie, right? It's like, Jesus,
Batman.
Also, Men's a bat.
The Batman movie. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So,
what's the second one going to be called?
The next Batman.
The next Batman would be a good one.
The next.
Just phone it in. All right.
I do like that. Oh, real quick, I do want to. I'll shout out one scene too, real quick. Is that I love the and it got me more excited, and then the movie kind of went down to a pace, but where he's doing the monologue at the beginning, and it like has the part where it's like he's talking about like, it doesn't matter. It's not about if I'm actually there. I can only be one place at once, but it's about the fear. Like that's the best succinct, like kind of view of like Batman and the symbol and all that stuff. Cause then they show all those people like doing something. They look at the darkness. They're like, I thought that was fun. It's like,
and they also do
really
something
neat
with it. This movie probably has the most coherent through line in terms of Batman having an arc where he's like, I'm all scary, and then I beat people up, and then Riddlers are like, yeah, I know, and then that's perfect. You scare people, you beat a few people up, and then we're on the same page completely. Little bit of fear, a little bit of violence, and it's all about revenge, right? It's like, because that's what you've been selling this whole time, right?
Yeah, he basically has an Iron Man arc because they're the same thing. They're rich, like selfish bastards, and then they're expressed in their own way, and then in the end he sacrifices. Because he's like, he could be dying when he jumps off and does that thing. You know what I mean? So it's like he sacrifices. I think
this is the first one where somebody actually kind of got it that's not cool. Like that there is something. Yeah, it's like Batman has learned to evolve past this just idea that I beat people up for revenge.
Yeah, he should be treated. Yeah, it's not a a good condition.
Man needs therapy.
Yeah, get that shit looked at, man.
But that would be an interesting movie, the therapy sessions with all these superheroes and vigilantes.
Well, that's why some of them
goes to like Hugo Strange or somebody. That could be the Arkham movie where Batman is getting psychoanalyzed and gets locked in Arkham because he is actually insane, like the rest.
Well, that's why. But that's why in some of the that's why one of those reasons Age of Ultron never worked, because Tony Stark's right. He's like, we should be doing this. We should just get this AI to do it. I was like, I agree with him. It's like, but it's a sci-fi movie, so it has to be evil and take over the world. But
it was an execution totally right. problem. Maybe it's not an AI that you design in an afternoon. Like maybe
they don't usually use Harley Quinn interacting with Batman terribly well that I've seen, especially on the movies. But she's a therapist. She's a psychiatrist or whatever.
That's right. That could be fun.
She's actually a doctor. She could psycho the shit out of that guy.
What's weird is we'll never see that because she's successfully spun off from their DCEU. They still can do stuff with Harley Quinn, but she's from that other fragmented universe, so they can't do a version of
sort
her.
of in the DCU. They're
the Bombshell Blonde could work really well in the noir universe. They could just make a new version of her.
Well, now technically they are connected because Aquaman is in Peacemaker. They're in that Peacemaker thing, which is connected to Amanda Waller, which is like...
Well, technically they already were because Suicide Squad was part of the original DCEU with the original Batman and all that. Not that you have to care about that, but I'm just saying they seem to be dividing those up that way, which is why Superman never shows up in anything because they don't know what Superman that they would want to have.
It's so disappointing, though, because they had that silhouette of him and it's like a Henry Cavill silhouette, too. I'm like, God dang. It's like, what a waste. Come on, guys.
No.
It's so close. Yeah. I don't want to have that conversation.
He's got the Witcher.
That same thing. It's like,
that Highlander.
You just can't have. Now we have no Superman and everything is Batman. We have 8 Batmans. It's like,
Inspire Man.
Yeah. That's what people like. Give them more Batman.
I didn't like Superman. He was too dark. Well, let's have Batman because he's dark.
Because he's so light and fun.
I've got this.
Yeah. So that's fine. I think that's what you don't want to say it. It's fine.
It's fine. All right.
We watched it at some point. I'm getting really over going to the movies.
I would say I hate to tell people
so that's your 3-hour movie
not worth too. Seeing in the theater, but I would say like when I saw Spider-Man, I was like, I'm so glad I got a chance to see this.
Yeah.
The audience reaction was very high, and then there's all kinds of fun stuff. Like there's no pause for applause moments in a Batman movie.
Yeah, and especially all those movies, usually those Marvel movies and all the like even one of those Batman, people always clap at the end or do a weird little, that was fun. You know, if you go to I went to the theater with this and people were just like, okay.
Yeah, and everyone like waits to the end to see what the stinger is.
3 hours, it's
like
exhausting.
Cursor with a website.
And they start like shooting up in the seat. Just like, like all right.
Well, that's what I mean. Like
that's the fun thing I like about being in home. You can do other stuff while you're watching TV.
Yeah.
I think Batman is just too intrinsically a sort of dude bro movie now because like the biggest like hero reveal is when they show his awesome car and everyone's like, yes, the car. Like, I don't think I'm not in the target audience of this.
I'm nits to pick out that scene too, because we keep talking about it. We don't want to talk Batman, but that scene is like they go there to try to get evidence. The Penguin comes out as the aggressor, shooting them, almost killing all of them. And then all of a sudden he looks at Batman, or Batman just goes, oh, and just gets in the car. and it just comes on, and for some reason that scares the penguin, and then he gets in a car. I was like, you guys had guns and we're almost killing all three of them, and then all of a sudden you're running from him, and I don't understand. And he didn't have stuff with him either. It's not like he grabbed the money and left. He just
it definitely wasn't for me. That whole scene, I'm like, this is just reckless.
Yeah.
This is just irresponsible.
That's how you know we are older, because I was thinking the exact same thing during that scene. I was like, what cost her? Like, they almost had an accident with that, because they flip over and like, what happened to that guy in the semi that exploded? Because
they're on the road. Like, everyone in a radius of that is dead.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question of what happened there.